Do you want to use that mic for your adhan? For live? Okay. Just plug it in. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa Allah. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa Allah. أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. حي على الصلاة. حي على الصلاة. حي على الفلاح. حي على الفلاح. الله أكبر، الله أكبر، لا إله إلا الله.
الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلله فلا هادي له، وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. قال الله عز وجل في كتابه الكريم بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم: يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. وقال في مقام آخر: يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا. وقال في مقام آخر: يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم، ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. أما بعد، فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله، وخير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم، وشر الأمور محدثاتها، وكل محدثة بدعة، وكل بدعة ضلالة، وكل ضلالة في النار. My brothers and sisters, all praise is due to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who allowed us to fast this entire month of Ramadan, to pray in it and perform His worship, and brought us to this day of Jum'atul Wada', the final Jum'ah of the month of Ramadan. Indeed, it is a very blessed day, and at the same time it's also very sad that we see this month coming to an end. But even though it is coming to an end, there is still some time left. And inshallah, today I want to emphasize through this khutbah that if you did not take advantage of this month thus far, then we need to do the best we can with the next day or so that we have left to make tawbah to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and perform as much worship as we can, till Maghrib of tomorrow, inshallah. I want to start off with a hadith by the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, recorded by Abu Hurairah. عن أبي هريرة أن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم صعد المنبر صعد المنبر فقال آمين آمين آمين. قيل يا رسول الله إنك حين صعدت المنبر قلت آمين آمين آمين. So Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu reported that the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam ascended the pulpit, the minbar, where he gives the khutbah, and he said Ameen 3 times. Ameen, Ameen, Ameen. So it was said, O Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, you ascended the minbar, the pulpit, and you said Ameen 3 times. Ameen, Ameen, Ameen. So the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam then went on to describe why he said what he said, why he said Ameen, and what he was saying Ameen to. He mentioned alayhi salatu wasalam, Inna Jibreel atani, verily Jibreel came to me, فقال من أدرك شهر رمضان ولم يغفر له فدخل النار فأبعده الله قل آمين فقلت آمين. Whoever reaches the month of Ramadan and he or she is not forgiven, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will enter this person into Jahannam, na'udhu billah, and he will cast them far away. So say Ameen. So he said, I said Ameen. Remember, this is Jibreel alayhi salam telling the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, say Ameen. The angel Jibreel is telling the Prophet ﷺ, say Ameen to this dua. And the Prophet ﷺ said, Ameen. That was the first Ameen. The second one, the Prophet ﷺ goes on and he mentions, وَمَنْ أَدْرَكَ أَبَوَيْهِ أَوْ أَحَدَهُمَا فَلَمْ يَبَرَّهُمَا فَمَاتْ فَدَخَلَ النَّارِ فَأَبْعَدَهُ اللَّهُ قُلْ آمين فَقُلْتُ آمين. And whoever has parents that have reached old age, one of them or both of them, some people may only have one that were able to reach an older age, and you do not honor them, you don't take care of them, and they end up passing away without you performing this deed for them, of taking care of them while they were in old age, while they were weak, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will send this person, na'udhu billah, to the fire of Jahannam, and he will cast them far away. And Jibreel said, O Rasulullah, say Ameen to this. And the Prophet ﷺ said, Ameen. And then the last time he said Ameen, it was to the following dua. And Jibreel alayhi salam then went on to say, وَمَنْ ذكرت عنده فلم يصلي عليك فمات فدخل النار فأبعده الله قل آمين فقلت آمين. And whoever hears your name, in any situation or gathering, and does not send salutations upon you, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will send this person to the hellfire. Meaning, whoever hears the Prophet ﷺ's name, and he doesn't make it a habit to say Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam or Allahumma salli ala Muhammad, and he dies in this state from that, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will send this person to the fire of Jahannam. And he said, say Ameen. And the Prophet ﷺ said, Ameen. So these are some very serious things that the Prophet ﷺ shared with us. And quickly go over each 3, inshallah. I'll start reverse, I'll do it backwards. The last thing the Prophet ﷺ mentioned in regards to sending salutations on his name. As you know, this is a sunnah, but in this hadith it goes to another level, to the point where someone who does not say it deliberately, constantly leaves it out, does not care to say Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam or Allahumma salli ala Muhammad, then this person does not really care about the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. The Prophet ﷺ specifically told us, send salutations upon me when you hear my name. This is one ask He had of the ummah. He didn't ask us for any wealth. He didn't ask us, to support his family. In fact, zakah to his family is forbidden. They can't even accept zakah. Alright, Ahlul Bayt. But what did he ask for? Basically to make dua for him, supplicate. Supplicate for him so that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blesses him, because no one can bless anyone more than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What reward can we truly give each other? It's limited. It'll last for a little bit and then it'll go away. But Allah's reward is everlasting. We also learn there's a lot of wisdoms just in sending salutations upon the Prophet ﷺ. Some people say, why? Why do you have to do this? It teaches you to also respect those who taught you knowledge. Those who taught you knowledge. You pray for them. This is something that, that will always remain with you. Think of all your teachers in life. You could lose your job, you can lose your family, you can lose a lot of things, all material things. But you will always know what you know. You will always know what you know. Knowledge is golden. And, those who teach it are golden also. And we should always respect them. Islam highly encourages respect of teachers, of our scholars. And through these salutations, the Prophet ﷺ is teaching us also to respect those of knowledge, those that teach you things, starting, of course, from your own parents, all right? And then your teachers, your scholars, your imams, and anyone in life, who has given you good tarbiyah, trained you in good things. The best thing you could do is send a dua on their behalf to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah bless this person, accept them into paradise, forgive their sins. This is a way of training us to respect those who have given us knowledge. Sometimes we take that for granted. Someone teaches us something and we forget about them completely. We could care less. No, this should not be the case. You will always be indebted to those that have taught you something. And we are all, every single one of us, indebted to the Prophet ﷺ for teaching us what he has taught us. Over 1,400 years, subhanAllah, have passed, but we still have his sunnah. And we learn it, on a daily basis throughout our lives. And we practice it as much as possible. Here, me standing today, giving this khutbah, this is the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, right? You won't find this specifically in the Quran, the directions of how to give it. Although Allah does say to pray the Jumu'ah prayer in the Quran, but the directions of how we conduct the khutbah, that comes from the sunnah. So, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala send his salutations upon our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Especially on a Friday, where it is actually encouraged to do so. And another great benefit, there's many by the way, but I'll just end with this, is that every time you send salutations upon the Prophet, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sends 10 salutations upon you. Subhanallah. Sending one salutation to the Prophet ﷺ, Allah will send 10 upon your behalf. 10 extra good deeds for you by sending one to the Prophet. So it is only to our benefit when we send salutations upon our beloved Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, who did not ask for anything from his ummah except that they make supplication for him. What a noble ask of his ummah. And this salutation, remember, it's not a prayer to him. We don't worship Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. We worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But you are basically asking Allah to bless him, right? To reward him. And that's a very noble thing to ask of someone. That you ask Allah to reward me, because no one can reward better, no one can compensate better than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The next point he mentioned, the second point, taking care of our parents, this can never be emphasized enough, especially when they reach old age. They took care of us when we were not able to walk, when we were not able to talk, when we were not able to feed ourselves. They were there for us. SubhanAllah, the cycle of what life works in a way where the same person that was able to do everything for you, one day they will get old and feeble, and to a point where they may not even be able to do those same things. SubhanAllah. We'll see people get old, not able to walk, not able to talk, and not even able to feed themselves. So do not abandon your parents when they get to their old age. Don't abandon them at all throughout their life, but especially when they need you most. It's so sad. I work in the medical field myself, and I see How many times kids just dump their parents into nursing homes and they won't even come visit them? Just let someone else take care of them. I get it. Sometimes they're not able to do much themselves, so they need some assistance, and that's fine to seek that assistance, but not even visit them on a regular basis. This is a shame, wallahi. You should, even though they are in a nursing home, you should visit them as much as possible, and while you were there, you should tell the facility, I'm going to take care of my mom and dad while I'm here. I'm going to do as much as I can while I'm here. Inshallah, none of you have to get to that situation. But a lot of you may have parents who are living within their house, and you forget about them, or you don't talk to them. This should never happen. Never break ties with your parents. This will only lead to the anger of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You got to take care of mom and dad when they get old, especially. It is our duty. It is an absolute obligation. And those who do not do it, you are in for trouble. Not only in the hereafter, but even in this life. Allah will not put barakah in your life. Wallahi. You will not have barakah. And moreover, your own children one day will treat you either the same way or even worse. And that is written. That is bound to happen, without a doubt. Without a doubt. There's a story from Bani Israel where a son was carrying his father up a mountain, and the father was older in age, he was weak, and he tells the son, I know where you're taking me, I know what you're going to do. He said, what? He said, you're going to take me to the top of the mountain and throw me off. And he said, how did you know that? He said, because I did the same to my father. SubhanAllah. So, this will come back to haunt you. If you do not take care of mom and dad, the way you treat them, you will also be treated. Make no doubt about it. So, the young ones right now that are listening, that are in your houses, take care of mom and dad at a young age. Listen to them. Don't be disobedient. When they ask you to wake up, brush your teeth, put on your clothes, clean your room, put your plate away, basic things. A lot of times they have to ask us 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times. We don't do it. Do your homework. They have to bang their head on the wall for us to do it. That should not happen. If they ask you, then do it right away, without delay. And smile. Don't look frustrated. Don't even say uff. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, فَلَا تَقُلْ لَهُمَا uff. Don't even make a gesture or a sound that shows frustration on your face when they ask you to do things. And I'm talking about things that are good, okay? Sure, there may be times when they may ask you to do something that may not be good. Those are rare circumstances, and in some cases they may never happen at all. But in those cases, obviously, you don't have to listen to them. That is from Islam. You should not listen to anyone who tells you to do something outside the scope of Islam. But for the most part, our parents don't ask us to do that. They struggle just to get us to do basic things. Basic things. So don't disobey them in those matters. Don't disobey them in those matters, and do them right away. Especially the young ones. Don't give your parents a hard time. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala always make us amongst those who do not forget about their parents and take care of them throughout their lives, especially in old age. Ameen. And the last thing, which was actually the first thing the Prophet ﷺ said Ameen to, was this month of Ramadan. Whoever passes by this month and is not forgiven, he will enter the fire. There is wisdom behind that, because don't look at this as something so harsh. Oh my God, I pass this month, I don't get forgiven, I go to Jahannam. Islam is so tough. No. The point here is that there are so many opportunities to be forgiven in this month that it's almost impossible if you just simply perform your obligations that you not get forgiven. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has put so many rewards in this month for us to be forgiven. Starting just even with the suhoor, before you even start your fast. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sends His salutations upon those who have suhoor. In a hadith, إِنَّ اللَّهَ وَمَلَائِكَتَهُ يُصَلُّونَ عَلَى الْمُتَسَحِّرِينَ أو كما قال عليه الصلاة والسلام. Allah and His angels, they send salutations upon those who have suhoor. Subhanallah. So even before you started your first fast, blessings were being sent on you because you woke up for suhoor. Then you started fasting. What does Allah say about fasting? The one who fasts, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, I will preserve, and hold their reward on the day of judgment. I want to personally reward them. فَأَنَا أَجْزِي بِهِ. He will reward you with different things in this life, but fasting, he says, is special. That is between me and my servant. The one who fasts, he has a special relationship with me, and I want to reward him personally, him or her, on the day of judgment. Allahu Akbar. And then when we break our fast, right, we say Bismillah, we thank Allah, we eat, and then we offer our prayer. And then we have a chance to perform the Taraweeh prayers, or Qiyam or Layl. Praying these prayers at night, our Prophet ﷺ mentioned, من قام رمضان إيمانا واحتسابا غفر له ما تقدم من ذنبه. Whoever stands for prayer at night, it could even be as minimum as 2 rak'ahs outside of Isha, right? Their sins will be forgiven. Then you have Laylatul Qadr. If you stand Laylatul Qadr, غفر له ما تقدم من ذنبه. One reward after another. Moreover, any good deed that you do in this month is multiplied. 10, 20, 15, who knows how many times. Every good deed itself can be multiplied from 10 all the way to 700. And now when you are in this month of Ramadan, it's even magnified and multiplied beyond that. So imagine just saying salam to someone can be considered giving more than 700 salams, 700 acts of charity. Allahu Akbar. Good deeds are at your fingertips to take care of, to take advantage of. So there are so many ways that we can seek the reward of Allah in this month and seek His protection, forgiveness. It's almost impossible that you leave this month without being forgiven, unless you forego all these obligations. And of course, if your heart is not there, if you do it for the sake of someone asking you to do it, but you have no belief inside, then that's dangerous. But as long as you have belief, you know this is the truth, and you're doing it for the sake of Allah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will reward you, save you from the hellfire, and admit you into His paradise. He has made it easy. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow us all to be amongst those who fasted this month, who prayed this month, with belief and seeking His reward. Imanan wahtisaban. This is the key. Believing in Him and seeking His reward. Allah wants us to seek His reward. There is no better reward than the reward of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us amongst them. And if we happen to pass this month not doing what we should have done, then let's inshallah make tawbah right now and finish this month strong, even though there's only a day left. Allah is still there. The gates of mercy are still there for you, and He is there ready to forgive you and accept you. But are you ready to do it? So inshallah, if you have not taken advantage of this month, start right now, inshallah. With this, I'll end the first khutbah, and then we'll talk about some other things in the second khutbah. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم فاستغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. Alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulullah. So as you know, lots of big current events took place today, some tragic ones. Mainly, we had a plane crash in Pakistan. Of course, none of this is during the month of Ramadan, and the plane happened to land in a residential area. So we don't quite know the exact death toll, but there were about close to 100 people on that plane. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, for those who have passed away, may He accept them amongst the shuhada, and may He have mercy on that community, that country that went through this tragic event. Imagine in the month of Ramadan, while you're fasting, you're going to be picking up rubble all day just to find a body. It's extremely, extremely tragic. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have mercy on all of them and give sabr to all their families. And I'm sure our relief organizations will be getting together very soon to help this cause. So look out for them, inshallah. We also got note from the President of our country today that he has opened religious institutions for worship, executive order. We ask you at this time not to rush to the masjid. Inshallah, we will open it, but let us get together as a community with the Shura Council and decide the safest way to start this, inshallah. We are just excited as you, believe me. And we want to do this right. So give us a little bit. Let us get together with the rest of the leaders in the community and plan for the most safest way to do this, while inshallah trying to accommodate everyone who wants to come in with the guidelines of social distancing and whatever guidelines were mentioned by the CDC for the opening of religious institutions. So hang tight, and you will hear from us shortly, inshallah, but just give us a little bit and we will update you as soon as possible. But for the rest of Ramadan, the plan will most likely remain the same. We'll continue virtually. We have our Khatm al-Quran tonight at 10 p.m. We have our last hadith session at 9 o'clock. After that, we'll give a little break and have Khatm al-Quran at 10 p.m. Tomorrow we have our hadith competition from 11 to 1 for those who are registered. And then on Sunday, we'll have the Eid prayer here live virtually. So you can tune in for that as well. But hopefully by then, we'll have some good news for you and let you know when we can open up and how we will open up and what guidelines to follow and so forth. So stay tuned for that. May Allah bless you all in this blessed month of Ramadan. If you have not given yet to the masjid, then please do so. Our Launch Good campaign is live and going, and we have not met that goal yet. So I ask you guys one more time, inshallah, to please help us reach that goal. As you know, the masjid still has expenses. Every masjid is hurting right now because we miss having our beloved community here praying with us and engaging and socializing and also giving. When people are not here, they tend to give less, unfortunately. So we can't let the masjid go. We have to remember the masjid still has expenses, even though it has remained closed for the most part. So we have to help support it. We're almost there at the goal. So inshallah, help us reach it, inshallah, during these last few hours and the last day of Ramadan. May Allah bless you all for everything you've done in this month. May He make you stronger coming out of this month. May He make us all better believers coming out of this month. Ameen ya Rabbil Alameen. Inna Allaha wa malaikatahu yusalluna ala nabi. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu sallu alayhi wa sallimu taslima. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم بارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم أعز الإسلام والمسلمين وانصر الإسلام وأهله في كل مكان. اللهم رد المسلمين إلى دينك مردا جميلا وإلى سنة نبيك مردا جميلا يا ذا الجلال والإكرام. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار وأدخلنا الجنة الفردوس مع الأبرار يا عزيز يا غفار. اللهم اجعلنا ممن صام رمضان وقامه إيمانا واحتسابا. اللهم اجعلنا ممن قام ليلة القدر إيمانا واحتسابا يا ذا الجلال والإكرام. O Allah, we ask you to make us amongst those who fasted and stood this month believing in you and seeking your reward, and those who also stood for Laylatul Qadr, believing in you and seeking your reward. Ameen. Allah, we ask you to bless us and protect us during this difficult time, during this terrible pandemic that is plaguing the earth. Allah, we ask you for protection, your protection. We ask you to bring us back to our old ways where we used to worship you in the masjid with full congregations. Allah, we ask you to bring us back to the ways we used to worship you in a way that was pleasing to you, Ya Allah. Allah, we ask you to eradicate this pandemic from the earth, this virus from the earth. And for those of us who have passed away from it, we ask you to accept them amongst the shuhada, Ya Allah. And for those of us who may be suffering from it as I speak, I ask you, Allah, to give them full recovery and shifa. Ameen ya Rabbil Alameen. And save us, the rest of us, from this disease, from this virus. save our communities, and help us all return stronger, better believers that are pleasing to you, and perform deeds that make you happy. Ameen ya Rabbil Alameen. لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك إنا كنا من الظالمين. وصلى اللهم على نبينا وحبيبنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وتابعين.